Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. I'm your host, the fellow KGB. Guys are going to be just getting me tonight. No John or Drake tonight. They are on assignment. They've got some busy stuff going on in their lives. I'm going to be on vacation starting tomorrow too. So no Thursday night show this week, but we're going to get into it. It's like technically the first week of the playoffs. I don't know how your league is set up, but I have a lot of info and information to get into. We'll probably look at a couple of the scores going on right now. The Thunder Celtics are underway. The Bucks Hornets, the Blazers, and the Pacers have all already tipped off. So we'll kind of peek into some of those games throughout the show. Well, we can take a peek at the standings, whatever you guys need for questions. And I don't know, we'll look at some players here that I'm also looking at. We'll look at the schedule grid and anything else. But first, I think I'm going to go to let me go pull up the news here and see. We got some NBA player news here that we should probably go over. John Wall is out for the season. Kevin Durant's starting tonight, so that's interesting. We should check in on that in a little bit. That starts at 6:30, so that should be tipping off during the show. Evan Fournier is finally starting for the Celtics. Lou Dort is in tonight. LaMelo, Malik Monk could start practicing on Wednesday, so the Charlotte Hornets are going to get a lot stronger soon. Jason Tatum's probably back tomorrow. Goga Badat's ruled out tonight, and Kemba Walker is going to miss the next two games, so they play tonight and tomorrow night. So no Kemba Walker for you the next two nights. And let me kind of just look and see what else we got going on. I was curious about the Dallas Mavericks. I wanted to see who was in and out for the Mavericks, but hopefully you guys picked up Ken Birch here. Bruce Brown's going to be returning for the Nets on Friday, so that's a good sign if you've been holding on to Brown. Let me see what else we got here. Again, Kevin Durant is going to start tonight. That game's probably tipping off in a few minutes. Terrence Ross still doubtful. I think I cut him in a couple of leagues that I did have him. James Ennis questionable. But we can get into these guys if you have questions with those. But otherwise, I kind of wanted to just take a peek and let's see who have some of been the best ads have been. Yeah, the Blazers are in a weird funk right now. If we go to the standings real quick right here, they're 2-8 in their last 10 days. A lot of that's been because of injuries and whatnot. But 5 straight losses. They have now fallen into the play-in tournament. But they're still one game out from the Mavericks. If they can kind of hop them and get into that 6th seed, I think it's possible. Mavericks haven't been playing the greatest either. They're 5-5. Lakers have kind of got a little bit of separation now from that 6th seed. So we'll see what happens. It's interesting here. No problem, Justin, man. What's going on tonight, guys? Yeah, Dame, I don't think they're going to try to force things too hard. I'm curious to see, with these 7-8 seeds, I guess in the West case, 7 through 10, they're all kind of locked in tight, fighting for that 6th seed. So I'm curious to see how some of these play-in teams actually, how hard they play down the stretch. So I did want to kind of just take a peek here and see who's been the hottest ads of late here. So of course, Jaron Jackson Jr., he's up to 80% roster now. He's been playing pretty good. They've been giving him a night off here. Looks like he had one game off on the 25th. That was the beginning of a back-to-back. So he didn't play as great last night. Only 21 minutes is fine, but 10 points, 7 boards, 1 assist, no steals or blocks. So that's kind of his floor, I think, going forward is 17 to 18 points. There's a lot of LaMelo Ball hype right now. It sounds like he's going to be practicing tomorrow. Now, I still don't know if he's able to play next week. Perhaps he gets eased in next week, but I think this is more for week 20. That's when you're going to see LaMelo Ball maybe at full strength. So I still think we're 7 to 10 days away from getting good LaMelo Ball. Cole Anthony's been playing pretty good lately. He's only 45% owned, and I still don't get this, guys. Especially if you're in a 12-man league, you should probably make sure he's not hanging around and available. So Cole Anthony, 45% owned. I'm looking around here for any of our Detroit Pistons here. Let's actually go filter by Detroit. 1 sec. Stop it. All right, so I'm looking at Detroit Pistons right now that should be available. And the top one that probably is available is going to be Corey Joseph or Isaiah Stewart. And like we said, we were looking at the schedule grid for Week 19. So if you're trying to get ahead or if you're in a bye, Detroit's the only team with 5 games next week. So this is kind of a big deal. So if you're able to kind of get ahead of the curve, and I'm just kind of looking at the schedule, I don't know if I'm going to add any guys for the 29th here. But if I'm looking good for the weekend and I got the win kind of in the bag, I might add some of the Pistons on May 1st, hold them on the Saturday, and then maybe just hold on to them on Sunday, because then you're gonna get 5 games next week. And no haircut. We still got the full hair, just no hat today. So, but yeah, as far as Detroit and how I'm playing this next week with their 5 games, I think I'm going to add them on May 1st. That way you get the Charlotte game, so you get an extra game for this week, and then you're going to get 5 games next week, which that's kind of a big deal. So I think that's probably the way I'm going to play it. Corey Joseph, Isaiah Stewart, maybe Josh Jackson. These guys are all kind of, let me see what we got here. So Isaiah Stewart, Josh Jackson, Sadiq Bey, maybe Killian Hayes, but he hasn't been playing the greatest lately, and Corey Joseph. So it's Stewart, Jackson, and Joseph. Those are probably my favorites. As far as potential ads here, my dryer's going off right now. Let me see what we got going on in the chat here. My week's looking good. I missed my number 1 seed, but I made sure to get my teams with 5. All these teams here, Dallas, OKC, and Toronto, that had 5 games this week, I made sure to snag them. So I'm currently doing pretty well. But my league, we do something weird. So we do a 17 playoff. Number 1 seed gets the bye, and then all these top 6 teams right here, we don't play our opponent. We're playing each other. So we're going to take the top 3 scores and see them into the Final Four next week. So far, I'm in the lead for the Final Four. We dropped Woods for Nurkic. Interesting. Let me go pull up. Is Christian Wood, has he been in and out lately? Let's see here. And then Nurkic. So what's up with Christian Wood? So he went through practice and return. So minor ankle issue. We could maybe see him kind of in and out of the lineup. Again, they don't have anything to play for, whereas the Trailblazers do. Like we were talking about them before. They're 2-8 in their last 10 games. They kind of slipped into the play-in game. He just had this massive 54 and 58 point game. So I think I'm okay with this, especially when he's played and he's been healthy. Nurkic has been pretty solid, and the potential for him to have to play harder down the stretch, I think that is a pretty good bet. So I kind of like this, Mike. Yeah, everyone have a good night tonight. We got the LaMelo activated. Did he come off of the IR? He's still on the IR, so he's practicing. He practiced today, so this is let's see. He's not going to play tonight or tomorrow. Maybe towards the end of the week, but I think next week's probably going to be the full week for him. Yep, I don't know what's going on with Killian. Maybe they're just kind of taking it easy. So we need a pickup. I am down and need anyone. A pickup just for tonight or for the rest of the week, or what's the situation? We're looking at OKC. Did OKC already start tonight? OKC already started. Kevin. Yeah, Kevin Porter Jr. is a must add. I want to pull up the Rockets here. Kevin Porter Jr. is going to be a potential league winner, I think, the rest of the way. So I feel pretty good about him. Where's my last 7 days? So John Wall, again, out for the season. We haven't seen Kevin Porter Jr. play for a little bit here. I just think, man, once he starts getting, these 40-minute games in the mid-30s, you're going to probably get back to what we saw before he missed some games. But the other guy to keep an eye on here that I thought was playing well is Armani Brooks. And now that John Wall's officially out for the year, you're going to see this rookie get a lot of minutes, whether it's 26, to 21 on the low end, but upwards of 30, 35, 43, that's pretty great. That's the fantasy output's not quite there yet, but if you need someone just for a night or if there's a back-to-back, they're probably going to play Armani Brooks quite a bit. So keep him in the back of your mind. And yeah, Kevin Porter Jr., man, he's going to help us hopefully get to the championship. Yep. Yeah, Pacers, man. Did that game started right now? Yeah, let's check in on this game cast here real quick. So Nurkic is 2 points, 5 rebounds. McCollum's playing 6 and 1. we should probably look at the Pacers because this O'Shea Brissett's been kind of intriguing to me. I don't know if you guys have caught him while you're looking for your players. But over the last 7 days, he's been averaging 36.8 fantasy points per game. And already tonight, just in 12 minutes, he's got 17.5 points. So looking at the minutes, 25, 42, 38, 31. He's been in double-digit points in 4 of those games, 4 out of 4. The rebounds have been pretty good, and then he's kind of starting to branch out and get a little bit more assists, steals, and blocks. So I like what we got going on here. If he's developing a floor of about 24 points, this might be a player that can help us down the stretch. And we know with the injuries that the Pacers have at center, whether that's Miles Turner, Goga, Sabonis has been out. This might be a guy that they kind of have to keep in the rotation for some good minutes. So keep an eye on O'Shea Brissett. I like him quite a bit right now. Yeah, and Derrick White. Let's take a peek at San Antonio just for fun. So Derrick White, man, over the last, let's even go last 15 days. He's been their third best player in the last 15 days of points. And so all of a sudden, we're going to lose quite a bit of minutes, and that's going to probably filter to Lonnie Walker and Patty Mills. So keep an eye on these two. They haven't really been playing worth fantasy, potential at all. But in games where Lonnie Walker's gotten a lot of minutes, he's gotten some opportunity. He's still a little bit hard to trust. So I don't really know if there's like a great pickup in his place. I think, of course, DeRozan, Dejounte Murray, they're going to carry the load. Maybe you see Keldon Johnson kind of pick something up a little bit in the scoring column. So Derrick White, it's unfortunate we lose him. I don't know how long he's out for. The ankle injury. So if you have an IR spot, hold on to Derrick White. If someone drops him, slide him into your IR. I think he's going to be helpful down the stretch too, because if we go back to here, especially the championship week 20, San Antonio is one of those teams that play 5 games. So if anyone drops Derrick White, and just scoop him up. If you have an IR spot, that's perfect. Otherwise, I might try and just hold on to him and see what happens. But it doesn't sound too serious. Wait, noted that it doesn't look good. So multiple games. He might be out until next week, perhaps. Let's take a peek at Atlanta. Atlanta just can't stop with the injuries. Kevin Huerter was their 4th best player over the last 15 days. Let's read his blurb. Kevin Huerter was playing really great too. You see the minutes and the scoring has been really consistent. And the thing that I noticed this year from last year is he's filling out kind of everything. He's kind of becoming a more well-rounded player, which I like to see. So he's probably not playing tomorrow. He had an MRI on his shoulder today. No results quite yet. It says it's potentially a good sign he wasn't ruled outright yet. So we'll hold on hope for Huerter. Maybe they just list him out, put him on your IR, but I don't know if I would drop him yet. I might want to hold on to Huerter for now. PJ Dozier, yes. And it took a couple of weeks for Denver to kind of figure out what they wanted to do with that situation. But over the last 15 days, Dozier's been their 4th best player. Over the last 7, he's been probably their 3rd best player. So you're getting a pretty good player here. He's averaging 27.3 minutes in the last 7 days. Let's click on his numbers here. So 27 minutes, 12 points per game, 4.5 boards, a little over 3 assists, and 1.5 steals, 1 block. That's pretty crazy too for a point guard. He's been getting some, a handful of blocks in the last few games. So he's going to kind of tack on everything. He's starting to get a pretty nice, safe floor here. So I like Dozier going forward. You look at the minutes and the consistency we got going on here. That seems to be trustworthy enough for me. And then what's going on with Barton? How long is Barton out for? He got the hamstring injury, so it might maybe he'll come back soon, but I don't know if he's going to affect Dozier's numbers too much. So keep an eye on Barton too. He could be a guy that could help us down the stretch. I don't know if Denver has. Where's Denver? Denver's just solid. They got 4 games in each week remaining, so I don't mind stashing Barton if you can. Yes, the Clippers. Now the Clippers, man, the Clippers are dangerous for fantasy down the stretch here because, again, if I kind of show you guys, zoom out just a sec there. The remainder of the playoffs, the Clippers only have 10 games. So this week and next week, they only have 3 games remaining. So I'm not super fond of it. If you need someone for the night, that's where I'm into a guy like Marcus Morris. Let me pull it up here. So last 7 days, 31.5 points. That's pretty solid. The points have been up really consistently, really the last like 7-8 games for him. So interesting. Only 28% owned. I think I would play the schedule with him. I don't think this is a guy I need to have on my roster, but again, the games are so spread out. So like I don't want to hold him for 2 days while there's nothing going on. And their schedule is kind of the same thing next week with only 3 games. So I mean, I dropped Reggie Jackson. There's really no other Clipper that I think is must own at the moment right now. Is Lopez. We're talking Brook Lopez? Talking Brook Lopez? I'm curious if Robin's doing anything. I wouldn't assume Robin's doing anything. So no, this must be Brook. Okay, cool. Let me get back to Milwaukee. So if you're in a 12-man league, I think Brook can be owned. He's not like a super strong play, but there is an advantage to holding on to Brook Lopez. They do have 4 games the rest of this week. And then if you go and look at week 5, if you look at week 5, Milwaukee's one of those teams that does have, or week 20, they're one of those teams that have 5 games. So week 19, I mean, it's not ideal to have a guy with 3 games, but if you can hold on to him and get through week 19, you're going to get 5 Brook Lopez games, which should be over 100 points. So I think, especially as far as this week goes, you still get 4 games from Milwaukee. So I like Lopez here. Yeah, Podol, Jakob Poeltl. Poeltl should be owned in most leagues, even 10-man leagues. He's been playing really, really well this year. He's over his minutes. He's got 30.5 minutes per game, 10.8, roughly the same rebounds, but his assists are up. His blocks are way up too. He's got 5, 4, and 5 blocks in a couple of the last few games here. So Poeltl's playing fantastic. He's got a weird floor every now and then, but I mean, he's definitely a hold. And at 57.1%, he's definitely a guy. Again, any of these teams, Memphis, San Antonio, Indianapolis, Milwaukee, we're going to want to be really curious about that. And I think my favorite team to add from right now is probably Memphis or San Antonio. And that O'Shea Brissett, guys, he's got 3, 4, and 5 games remaining on his schedule. So keep an eye on the Pacers. When will Kawhi come back? Let's see. Let me pull that up. So it's just foot soreness. He's going to be reevaluated in 1 week. So that's today. So he's probably being evaluated. I haven't heard on anything. So either today or tomorrow we should know. Maybe when's their next game? Because they're kind of light on games right now. So maybe May 1st, Saturday. If he doesn't play tomorrow, it would probably would be Saturday. And yeah, Cole Anthony, Orlando Magic. I don't get why he's so low owned. He's playing really, really well for a rookie right now. Wrong button. I mean, he's been their best player the last 7 days, and he's only 45% owned. He's going to get you over 30 fantasy points for the most part each night. The scoring is there. He's just a good rebounder and assister too. He kind of gets everything. I don't know. I love Cole Anthony. The minutes are going to be there. Orlando, one of those teams. Again, they got 4 games and every week the rest of the way. One of our favorite players. I guess while we're looking here too, if you need center help, Mike, because you're kind of asking, who asked about, Aaron Keenan asked about Lopez. If you need center help, Mo Bamba, man, he doesn't need a lot of minutes to be productive either. And even last night, he only played 19 minutes, but 6 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 blocks. That's a bad game from him, 21 points. For the most part, I think you're going to be looking at this kind of number output the rest of the way. And, he can kind of dip into some 30. So Mo Bamba is interesting. He's been their second best player over the last 7 days. With Wendell Carter missed a couple games, but I think they like to kind of roll out both starting centers there. And then Chuma Okeke, still low owned, 17% owned. I don't know why he's down 6.9%, which makes kind of no sense to me. He had one kind of weird game, 13.75, but Okeke's been playing really well. So if you're looking for guys that you can hold on to, I guess, the rest of the season, Olynyk, basically these top 4 guys on the Magic, I'm a fan of. Dwayne Bacon's been kind of hot and cold, but The shooting guards situation's weird there because they got Bacon, Gary Harris. I mean, I even say R.J. Hampton, Otto Porter, Terrence Ross. They got a lot of 2s and 3 guards here. So I think I feel best about Anthony, Bamba, Carter, and Kiki going forward. I don't know. I think Podol's been fine, especially since he's a guy that we were able to pick up off the free agency. I mean, if this is probably your worst guy at some point, and he's playing pretty well. He's almost a top 50 player at the moment. So I like Poeltl quite a bit. And again, man, 4, 4, and 5. If anyone drops him, just looking at this roster right now, he's only 57% owned. He needs to be owned the rest of the season. I even think Keldon Johnson can be owned. He's only 48% owned. He has a 11-point game. That's an outlier here, but 16 points, 19 points, that's kind of the low end for him. But you see the last 3 games, he's been playing pretty well. His points are getting more consistent again, and they just got a lot of games the rest of the way. So I like him. But with this Derrick White injury, we got to keep an eye and see who gets the minutes and where the points are going. Take a look at Washington, huh? Oh my God, I just like looking at Westbrook's numbers, man. Just double digits, almost all the way down. Seeing only 3 games on this list of non-triple doubles. Westbrook's fun to watch. But yeah, Daniel Gafford. If you need center help, he's also double eligible at the power forward position. He's averaging about 30 points per game the last 7 days. What's cool about him too is he doesn't need a lot of minutes. They're kind of sporadic too, 15, 27, 15, 24. But the blocks come in bunches. He gets steals in bunches, good rebounder, good points getter. A couple games with 16, but I think you're going to be okay with that. Let me pull up the schedule here. And again, Washington is one of those teams, man. They got 4 games the rest of the way. I could realistically here. Let me just highlight this group of teams here. We'll make them yellow. I'm going to make Dallas, Memphis, San Antonio orange. They kind of are orange. Any other teams with 4? So any of these teams here that you see that I just highlight, basically anybody and above, they all have 4 games at least. There's Indiana and Milwaukee kind of have the 3 in there, but any player on these teams I'm super interested in holding on to for the rest of the season. I guess Golden State and New York would come into play after this week. You can look into them because they do play 4 games the rest of the way. But yeah, Gafford is only 16% owned. And I don't get it. He's going to be a valuable piece down the road here. His worst game's been 16 points. That's only happened twice. So he's a guy that you can kind of just hold on to and make sure you get your 4 games out of him. Rui Achamura is back. First game back last night. He's only 41% owned. I think a lot of people cut bait on Rui a little too soon, especially if you have an IR slot. He only missed a handful of games. He was kind of downtrending here, but they just put him right back into 32 minutes. So this is one that I like quite a bit here. I'm a fan of picking up Gafford, Achamura. Even Raul Neto has been pretty solid, and especially if you're getting 4 games of him, and he's going to be getting these high minutes. I think he might be worth holding on to, but I'm not super excited about it. Davis Bertons might be the other guy here that's worth looking at. He's been missing a lot of games, but you just look at his last 5 games, 27, 29, 22, and a couple 15s. I think I'm okay with that. The minutes are trending upwards too. We just need him to get hot for a couple games for us. So the Wizards are fun. Pat Connaughton. I've been very fortunate to go to the last 2 Milwaukee Bucks home games on Saturday, and they just blew out. Philadelphia on that second game on Saturday. So I got to see a lot of backup minutes. And Pat Connaughton, he didn't play super crazy, but 11 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, good minutes here. If you're playing, I think Aiden's probably playing in a low, a big. I don't know how many people are in that league, but there's probably a lot of people. So Pat Connaughton. I don't know about for 12-man leagues, but hopefully he can kind of keep it going for the Bucks because he was on a decent streak of about 20 fantasy points. So we'll just file him away. The other guy that really impressed me on Saturday against the Sixers was Bobby Portis. They're just not very consistent with him the last couple weeks here. But before that, he was playing really good minutes, really good fantasy outputage here too. So someone to keep an eye on. I don't like what he's been doing the last few games here. Did he get, I mean, only 4 minutes yesterday, or so they're playing right now. So we'll monitor what he does in Charlotte. And I like Dante Divincenzo. I picked up Divincenzo because they got 4 games remaining this week. He's playing pretty well. In 12 minutes already, he's got 11.25 points. So hopefully he can double that up. But again, they play 4 games the remainder of the week, I guess 4 including tonight. And they got that big 5 in week 20 there. Slow-mo Kyle Anderson. Yeah, he's been probably one of the best waiver wire pickups of the season. If you're able to get him like the first week or two. I did want to shout out another guy that I think could be one of the best waiver wire pickups of the year. But Kyle Anderson, man, just really steady. He doesn't miss a lot of games. The minutes, and even when he gets low 25, 24 minutes, he's still very productive. So he's been one of the best ads I think you can get. But I did want to point out one of my favorite pickups, and I'm so stupid because I dropped him in my big league. It's been Kelly Olynyk. And he's 73% rostered. So if you guys are in 8 and 10 man leagues, maybe check him out. But ever since he got to Houston, he's just been a beast. These are almost Christian Wood-like numbers. The minutes, the points, rebounds. The blocks quite aren't there, but he's a pretty good steal. And then the assists with 11 assists against Denver the other night. I think Kelly Olynyk's been probably one of my favorites. Yes, too much. Let's check in on some of those scores here. Let me just refresh this real quick. Brogdon 3-3 and 14, having a good game so far. Dame Lillard 12 points. Covington 10 and 5. Cantor's playing good with his minutes too. Just want to check in on this Bucks box score real quick. Bryn Forbes 10 points, a couple threes. Interesting. But if you guys got more questions, don't fire them up. I'm probably going to cut it short tonight just because it's a solo one. And I got a couple other things to take care of. But, I'm going to be on vacation. Feel free to leave me YouTube comments with your questions. I'll always be able to answer those. I'm just pulling up this was my waiver wire watch list for the waiver wire show this week. And Derrick Rose. I don't know if you guys were able to get Derrick Rose, but he's been on a bender lately. Ever since early April here, he's been playing really good the last maybe 10, 15 days and starting to peak, 33 minutes. The scoring's been up. Everything else kind of just follows with it too. So Derrick Rose is a pretty good player right now. Yep, that's usually how it goes. Once you notice a couple bad games, they'll kind of correct themselves. Let me see in here. I think I was able to pick up a handful of these OKC players here. Let me just show you guys. I was able to pick up Isaiah Roby the other night, and he was able to get 36 and 31 fantasy points. Again, it's still pretty young in the night tonight, so we'll see how much he can do. But they still got, I guess, 3 games the remainder of this week. But OKC down the line, they're going to drop to 4 games. So I'm probably holding my OKC guys for 1 more week. Let's go to OKC here. The last 7 days, Darius Bazley's been their best player. So not so great tonight, but the minutes have been really strong, and you see the 30s and a 40. He's been one of their best players the last 7 days. Isaiah Roby's been their 3rd best player. Moses Brown's kind of downtrending at the moment. He's had a couple frustrating games. Still very productive with a few minutes, but it's just not as great as that one stretch was earlier. And then I guess I like Theo Maledon a lot, but I think we got to pay attention to this Ty Jerome. He had a pretty good game the other night, 22 points. Still not a great, rebound assist man, but the scoring kind of comes in bunches with him. So keep an eye on Ty Jerome. Tony Bradley's out, I think, for the next game, or probably tonight. I think that means tonight. Let's take a peek at I want to go here. Pull up the fantasy cast. So Toronto is playing tonight right now. Were you guys able to pick up Khem Birch? He had one of the best games of his season last night. 14.6 boards, 1 assist, 2 steals, 2 blocks for 35 fantasy points And it looks like he's already having a pretty good game against Brooklyn right now in 9 minutes. Let's pull up that box score. Raptors are up on the Nets right now. Kevin Durant, 5 points, 5 boards. Landry Shamet's having a game. But yeah, Anunoby, Birch. These are the starters for the Raptors. So there's really nobody else on the Raptors worth adding right now besides Kem Birch. What's he up to? Kem Birch is still only 17.5% roster. They still have 3 more games this week. And I'm looking forward to, well, I guess next week, week 3. They only have 3 games next week, so I'll probably kind of bleed them out starting next week. Let me see what else we got here. Dallas was the other team that had a lot of games. But they play tonight. Is Luka out tonight? Still no word on Luka. Porzingis, he's doubtful for tonight. Dorian Finney-Smith, still nothing. Josh Richardson, doubtful for tonight. I'm just going to pull up my app and see if anything came through for those guys. Yeah, man, Finney Smith, I think he's only 30% rostered, 29.4. But yeah, he missed a couple games, I think end of March, but this is a player that I think, especially in a 12-man league, he needs to be owned. Just look at the minutes. Like, he's one of their best starting players. The points kind of come in bunches, but what I like about him is he's always going to get rebounds, and then the assists, steals, and blocks kind of happen for him regularly too. So I like Finney Smith quite a bit. So I'm hoping he can play tonight. If Luka's out, Jalen Brunson's going to be probably the good ad for tonight. But I've been looking through my app to see if anybody posted about them not playing tonight. So I don't see anything yet. But yeah, man, any more questions? Otherwise, I'm probably going to end it a little early tonight. I got some things to take care of before I head out of here on vacation. But again, there's still a lot of opportunity this week. We can make a list of players that we need. But again, starting next week, Detroit Pistons. We're going to be interested in a few of them. And again, I think on Saturday is when I'm going to look to start adding a couple Pistons if I can. If I can get 1 or 2 of them, great. If I can get 1, that's probably best case or the most likely scenario. But then keep an eye on week 20 when Memphis, San Antonio, Indiana, and Milwaukee all play 5 games. Those are going to be the hot teams to add. And then basically we're just going to want to avoid Detroit and OKC for those weeks. So we're almost done with OKC. We'll get through them this week in the handful of games next week. But yeah, man, I think that's going to do it for tonight's show. If you guys have any more questions, leave a comment. I will respond as best as I can. And thank you guys so much for your time. Have a good rest of your night. We'll see you later. Peace.